这个队的话，他们都是每个点个人实力都不错嘛，然后最近他们打野也是状态非常好。这是我们一组的一场对抗嘛，然后希望我们能打出我们西部的风采，打出我们 EDG 的风格，给大家带来精彩的比赛吧。
I think he did.
Yeah, that game
was a lot
one.
of spirit.
That was a lot of strength and a lot of spirit.
Yeah.
For EDG. Sometimes it just happens. All right, you queue in, you're like, I'm just gonna walk in the lane,
Yep.
farm me some, and I'm dead.
You know the difference between this and my games is that there's that one person who says no one surrender votes, and the other team doesn't want it, and because they sit outside your fountain and just try and anyway.
AFK, yeah. This was a bad experience for me, so I'm gonna make it a worse experience for my teammates.
Suffer.
Yes.
Anyway, that was still good from EDG, so let's not bring our solo queue into it.
They're not suffering right now after that game one. We looked up adjectives. What were some of the adjectives that we found for that game
Wallops.
one? Game one, walloping. Yeah, that's a good one. Surmounting.
Trounced.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Licked. Ooh, EDG licked him. Oh yeah, that's straight out of the 60s.
Yeah. Ooh. That certainly should stay in the 60s as well, I think. EDG, either way, they won game one, so that's the adjective.
So now let's actually get into game two then and come back to some of the narrative points, because yes, we saw the game one, we had the idea for all of the story for these teams, but game two is where Suning, they mental reset.
Yes.
And pretend game one didn't happen. It's just that Suning has to win it 2-0 now. How do they do it?
I mean, the first thing was level one. They were not expecting such a crazy strategy. And then past that point, I don't think there was a lot more that they should have taken from that game, really.
Yeah.
It's either, you know, group up earlier, place vision together better earlier, or get a better understanding of, like, what your composition should be doing at level one. And a way to fix that, even, perhaps, is by drafting a ridiculously good level one. Like, maybe the Rakan goes towards the red side jungle early, places vision there. Rakan is very good level one. The Morgana from the other side is the thing that you could actually potentially pick and maybe utilize that. Swain does start E, so there's always a chance that he was going to be there. And, you know, a lot of this isn't something you can't really take a lot away from the first game. Let's be honest. Like, EDG can take a lot away from it, and they can say that invading very clearly worked. Our preparation, our planning, and our execution very clearly worked. There was no chance that we could fault our own performance, but what do they take away from that besides just praising yourself? And what does Suning take away from it besides, well, we got smashed, so we should probably just be more vigilant early.
Yeah, so looking at the lights on stage, it appears as though Suning find themselves on blue side coming into this game 2 with EDG on red. So with that priority draft, perhaps we could see Suning take something a bit more powerful, a bit more flexible for their team. We've talked about Angel starting to step up for this team. Again, I still want to praise that Demon player in the team fight because not every Swain player can do that.
And a lot of the time when you're on blue, you're target banning away from your opponents instead of banning the strong meta champions. Aatrox, one of those red side necessities now as an example. So there's a chance that you will get the higher priority champion. And the one that I want to bring up here from that last game was the Taliyah.
Yes.
I think Taliyah is a champion that probably shouldn't just be freely given over to Haro again. It's not just that Haro was good on the pick, because he was. It's that Taliyah is an obnoxiously strong champion. You can respond with Nocturne if you'd like, but maybe that was one too many steps in the flex direction from Suning Gaming, where when you're on blue side, you have an easier time.
They certainly kept EDG guessing all the way until that last pick and the final lock-ins, but after that, it just became real messy in terms of that level 1 actually on the Rift. Already we can see that Talon, Galio, Zoe, whereas in the previous game, it was Aatrox, Galio, Zoe as they were on red side. That means Aatrox banned away by EDG, and EDG decide not even to risk that Taliyah, as Swain is the first pickup for Suning.
That does leave open, the Shen. The Sejuani, whilst it is banned away in this game as well, it does also, as you mentioned, the other champions there. Nocturne also in the mix through the jungle role. Now, it is curious that the Swain is once again the highest priority here from Suning Gaming. EDG very easily on the other side can go Shen Nocturne and feel really good about it.
I mean, that's the hope, right? Massive map mobility, massive lane pressure out of Haro, running that submarine composition as he's got himself a chuckle and a smile on his face. He had a smash in that game 1. What does he look at for his birthday game in this game 2 when they're already up a game in the series? Kindred, all right, taking the carry role.
Okay, so of course Kindred is one of those picks that has been seen a lot recently and is known as very good into the likes of a Nocturne. If you're going to go into the backline, even the Kaisers, you know, that style of if you're diving someone, Kindred diffuses that excellently and prevents a lot of that. So does the Shen, however, here. So for EDG, through their first 2 picks so far, entirely defensive. They need to pick some damage tools up to complement themselves, or some engage potentially, you know, to help that Shen go forwards.
I mean, we'll see what that's going to be as there's Angel ready with that very early Pike rotation. Again, Death from Below is a great answer to Kindred from that Lamb's Respite. So Suning already prepared with their next follow-ups. Hacker on that very comfortable Graves, but Haro, he might get the chance to also put out some damage on this Kindred if he can step up and carry, try to shine a light as to what makes his playstyle differ a bit from Clearlove's, as he's providing utility with the Lamb's Respite and damage as well. But that's also a very early Orianna rotation. We've seen a lot of Oriannas go bottom lane lately.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why you can go towards this so early. Scout is an Orianna player for certain. He has had some standout games on that pick, things that don't particularly come to mind, but I know that he's had it in the past. And iBoy has shown now that he's got the Morgana, that he's got the capabilities of a mage. And by going for this Ori so early, it makes you wonder, you know, what will Suning try and ban from their opponents? Do they ban for the bottom lane? Do they still get rid of the Lucian, something that they find themselves often needing to do?
Perhaps targeting Ray in that top lane. The Kennen getting some very large maelstroms, slicing of the variety.
I certainly think they should get rid of the Kennen. I think maybe Kennen Lucian would be the best bans here from Suning, but of course they don't know where the Ori's going, so they are just going to ban the Morgana away.
That still leaves a lot of champions open for EDG. We know iBoy has a propensity towards marksmen, particularly the Kaisers and the Lucians. So we'll see what it's going to be.
And I think one other thing to consider is that Xiaoao's confident. He's comfortable. So you can ban the Kennen if you would like Suning Gaming, and it's a decent compositional choice, but there's a chance that Xiaoao just tries to take Ray down and goes fighter to fighter.
Oh, wow. EDG are actually the ones who throw down the gauntlet against Xiaoao in the top lane. Perhaps trying to get a more favorable matchup for Ray. As, again, Suning with that blue side will have to show their full composition before EDG.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, Ken and Darius, like you mentioned, taking things away, it does indicate a tank in the top lane. The Mundo, the first one that does come to mind. If you get rid of a Darius, you get rid of a Kennen, there's a high chance that it's just going to be a tank up there. Maybe even the Shen, if Camille is looked at here from the side of Suning Gaming.
Haro has played a lot of tanks so far. Hasn't gotten a chance to really carry too much this split, as EDG not exactly known through carrying through their top lane. And Ornn is actually the pickup for Ray up top. It's been a while since we've seen one. Definitely is.
But the one thing we said earlier into this draft is that they need some frontline engage sources for them. Now, Ornn provides engage from close and from mid-range, and will do a lot for the composition. They don't have the pure combo with an Orianna by any means. The Malphite was also a possibility that Ray has played before. It was something that I didn't want to say just in case he locked in. I don't want to be excited by the choice, but end of the day, he chooses the Ornn, he chooses the mid-range engage tool, and something that's a bit more reliable than a Malphite.
But now to try and deal with that, Fury for Angel locks in the Aurelia, the champion on which Angel got his pentakill, and now that means that the Mundo will be Xiaoao's answer into that Ornn in the top lane. So with that, looks like Swain is going down to Fury in the bottom, as EDG, Mako taking that Soraka along on a ride.
Now they have to reveal their draft, and what will they be picking? I saw the exhaust switch too by iBoy, so my speculation was going to be the Yasuo, but they beat me to it with the hover already. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one secured. Into the Pike, you can dodge out on a lot of stuff. Into the Swain, you can get rid of his hook as well. So EDG can round their composition out. Why would you have the Malphite top lane when you could have the Orianna with the Ornn to be the engage tools and the Yasuo to follow that one through? They still got a Wombo. There's a very different flavor here from EDG. And on the opposing side, Suning Gaming, we mentioned their bottom lane. You mentioned that it's going to be the Swain going down there for Fury, something he's very good at. But Hacker had an early rotation of the Graves, and that is the one big thing that enables the rest of their composition to exist as it does, such as the Aurelia in that middle lane for Angel, who did go insane on the pick.
So we saw Hacker in that game 1 was being very aggressively chased around his own jungle by EDG with that smite mid laner, with the smite Talia roaming across and taking everything away. Even Mako got in on a few of those buffs.
They're flexing.
But, oh yeah, they did see the last second flex as that Orianna went into that mid lane. Will Hacker have a slightly better jungle this time than getting 1 out of 4 buffs?
And just to clarify before we continue, iBoy's on the Orianna. So the Yasuo went towards the middle lane. That was the last second swap that they almost bamboozled us with. We've ended up here in the first place. And to answer your question, I think he will have a better time.
Yeah.
It's a Kindred opposing him who wants to try and, have a decent start in the jungle. Clear runs very low if wackiness happens early into the piece. So I would expect a fan out, a more standard start here from EDG, where they try and take the Rift to a 50-50 and scale up.
And now the big question then for Suning is, do you fan out and do the same thing after a late invade cost you that level 1 so aggressively, or do you try to retaliate with a little bit of cheese of your own? And they've got a lot of damage on that Graves. All they need is 1 target and they can start off the snowball, but as we prepare to load onto the Rift, Suning, this is a test to the mental resilience, not just of the team, but their new mid laner, Angel. Sometimes games like this happen. How can you recover going into this game 2?
And Angel is a part of this as well, but the level 1 from Suning Gaming is actually very good. The Swain, one of the biggest features there, starts with the Claw, has that crowd control at level 1 and can take you down. Mundo Cleavers to slow you, constantly being thrown out at you is always a big deal. So maybe the shoe really is on the other foot coming into this second game where Suning can be the aggressors, and that's exactly where they want to be as a team. If they get to start by putting their foot forwards first, usually it's the best foot that they put forwards, and it's the early leads that they forge.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the best early game teams in the league, now taking on Edward Gaming after an early game win, but let's hear from the crowd on their thoughts about this matchup. Perhaps the Suning crowd a bit disheartened after that game 1. As the EDG fans as loud as ever.
I don't think it's disheartening, Dom. I just think they couldn't get tickets in time because EDG are very quick to snap that one up.
Yeah.
Mako also having his own massive fan club seems to sell out a lot of the tickets. If you ever see him in a post-set interview, then most of the crowd still stays just to look at Mako's face while he answers some questions. He's a very famous man here in China.
It's EDG bringing in a large organization and a large fan base. As we do see a defensive lineup, that's the Never Move and the Bone Skewer, I believe, from Yoon.
Actually saved the ward there. I know it's not a big deal, but they saved that vision to enable themselves. Fighting for Scuttle Crabs is an important thing to have that vision for, especially when they get a Kindred mark on them. The magic number is 4, for those wondering as well on Kindred. How many marks you want to get before you feel a bit better about yourself being that champion.
Ooh, Mako trying to trade some health with Yoon as Fury is already landing some hits onto iBoy and Mako down there and trading it back. But Scout on this Yasuo, he's laying down the challenge. We saw the Yasuo a bit earlier from Rookie. Will Angel be able to show us a better performance and take this victory? Fan vote says yes, by 1% differential.
Yeah, 51% here favoring EDG. At the end of the day, you compare him to Rookie, I feel like that's a bit unfair to Scout. Of course, they're just trading bottom lane. Calm down.
And still just going very early on that as Hacker will be spotted taking that early scuttle. Haro just picked up his blue. Hacker steps up, sees it, and decides to back away. And again, that ward does pay off. You can see it's still sitting at that 1 health.
You can see the runes here for Hacker as well on his Graves. Electrocute is the choice, and you have to go precision secondary. And I know it doesn't make sense. I'm like, why would you have to go precision secondary? Believe me, if you play Graves and you forget precision one game, you don't want to play Graves anymore. Yeah. You actually get really upset by the lack of alacrity in your runes. The attack speed difference is so noticeable that you cancel auto attacks all the time. You miss them all the time, and it just doesn't feel good to play League of Legends without it. So he's going to have to go towards that secondary, which means no stopwatch to be seen. And this is the marked scuttle and a level advantage for Haro.
Yeah, plus he's got double buff. Hacker sitting only on that red. You can see the differences between the junglers right now. Haro, #1 in KDA among junglers right now. First place. But take a look at that kills plus assist and gold at 15. 16th out of 22. And you might be wondering, Dom, there are only 14 teams in the league. Well, we've got substitutes. We've got people who play jungle for just a day.
We have at least 22 in the jungle role according to those stats as well. There is an absurd amount of players in our league, let's be honest.
Lots of junglers.
Top lane.
Ooh, Ray actually lands the brittle. Haro, he's got red buff, he's got the slow, and Xiao gets shut down as Ray gives him the old thumbs up.
There is nowhere for the Mundo to go in this case, of course. He just has to die. Ray now gets the opportunity to purchase some items if he wants, but he's going to go back to base because mana was what he lost as the end result. You cannot really purchase mana items all that efficiently. Of course, if you do purchase a mana item, you get that flat amount.
Oh, wow. Mako landing the Shadow Dash, even the Spirit's Refuge, Visions of Empire.
Oh, the flash.
Mako and Boy finishing off the kill. Yoon is just forced to back away.
Aggressive there from EDG. They're pushing their limits in this bottom lane from level 1. And now it's starting to become successful. And of course, those changed death timers means that not a minion will be missed here by a Fury. And Yoon says, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to that lane ever again. And he's back to mid.
Already trying to change it out as Yoon.
Oh
no! Scout simply sidesteps the other direction. Still gets pulled by the Bone Skewer. Forced to walk through that smoke screen, and a flash late will keep him safe. Even Mako's there to help try and keep him protected.
There's not much more that Scout could have done there better, to be honest with you. He gets hooked because the smoke screen was on him. He was juking a little bit back and forth, but he just knew distance was the most important thing. And he does actually manage to survive from that. And really the tragedy, the burden of bear belongs to Yoon. He just missed the flash stun. That's something that is very hard to miss, and you get to see the wind wall is what kicks it off. That is the enabling tool. That is the reason that SNG Gaming should be able to go here, and Yoon sees his moment. Scout steps up towards the bottom side, and then Scout with the smallest sidestep, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't really credit that for doing the most, and of course a great flash on the end, but that little sidestep prevents the stun and enables him to dash towards the Pyke, and that distance is what keeps him alive.
And suddenly, EDG find themselves 2 kills to 0. Was that a marked Raptor that he just walked in and took? Did he just walk up and smash F?
And he waddled
to smite away that camp.
He did.
I have never seen that in the history of
You've probably seen it.
Super Smash.
You're really reaching for a game
gold
there.
ahead. He F smashed. Well, I suppose D smash. It's a down smash.
Yeah, he's a D.
He's a D smasher.
Yeah.
But now pushing that Boy Mako down in that bottom lane. This has got to be such a test for Angel in that mid lane. He's 14 CS up ahead of Scout. His top lane dies. His bottom lane dies. He gets ganked mid, doesn't get the kill because Scout gets the outplay. After that game 1, I think this is where we start to learn a little bit more about Angel's character, if he's able to show us a good performance in this game too.
I just really hope that we continue to see growth from Angel, and not that he will also be an Aurelia one-trick based off the team's decisions, because he had a very good Aurelia showing, and so far so good, but more importantly, the team was giving him resources to give him these leads. So that's what you want to take from this. SNG Gaming recognized that in an Aurelia Yasuo matchup, it is very heavily a skill matchup, and the smallest detail can break that lane wide open. So for the side of SNG, they said, well, let's just go there, let's just break it ourselves and get the gank off. And he's got that CS lead, he's got that control of the lane. The end result is that he hasn't even found the kill.
But like you said, it's a skill matchup. Scout on the other side answers with skill of his own, sidestepping the gank with a late flash to walk away with his life. Now, there is more opportunity for SNG to try and go back, knowing that the cooldown is only about half. But for now, we're just seeing some nice, safe farming. We do have some forward wards placed by EDG to spot out Hacker.
But the thing to remember, and the big thing to consider here, is that I would rather be EDG when Ray and Xiao have teleports. I would rather be the Ornn team composition to dive a lane, because at that point, when you've got an Orianna and a Yasuo combo with the Ornn ultimate as well coming into your bottom lane, I would rather be that.
Yeah.
Amundo teleporting, whilst it's strong, not at level 6. He wants level 11 and 16 for the increased ultimates and items to be done. So for the early game, while SNG Gaming look okay, EDG still started with a lead. Remember, they killed bottom lane in a 2v2 or a 2v1 basically as well. That's going to snowball them to exactly where EDG want to be. That is getting a dive off in bottom.
Ray, he's going to be caught out by the smoke screen. Even Yoon is up here. He's about to get that Bone Skewer, but an early flash through the minion wave. Hacker's going to try and chase this down. He's got collateral damage. That's a shield. Bone Skewer misses. Briefcase will hit, but Ray looking for the knock-up. Hits only one, but that's 3 members of SNG throwing themselves top, while Haro is set to finish off this Cloud Dragon. And
Oh, he got it.
Okay, getting a bit close there as he leaps out of the pit and even takes away yet another camp, as I believe that's now 3 marks on that Kindred.
Yeah, another mark for Haro. Scout even setting that one up. This is looking very good from EDG, and you can see Sinning trying their hardest. They've completely unlocked Yoon. Pyke is feeling very good about himself as a champion in terms of where he's in the lane. Doesn't need to be there. He's comfortable keeping the Swain by himself, and these are things that you look at for Sinning and you'd be like, well, that's where they want to be. Things should be going well for them, but they're not getting kills. They're not executing as best as they could be to get those. In the top lane, whilst they tried, it's still an Ornn who still had flash.
Yeah.
And a Graves doesn't have crowd control once you face check that bush. So he's able to disengage. You'd be looking bottom side, honestly, if you were Hacker. Ganking
That
for a
never
Mundo,
move, yeah.
difficult.
Yep, yeah. Perhaps a bit of desperation from Suning. Maybe they wanted to try and unlock that lane to get Xiao out elsewhere so they can get Fury on another side of the map. It's who can say but for Suning what they were thinking when they tried to look for that gank, but already it's becoming a little bit more difficult for them, as even using Minion Dematerializer to try and push the wave as Mako, he's level 6, he's got Stand United now to follow up on any threats that EDG want to try to throw, but for now, looks like they're just happy playing the smart, safe game and staying in their lanes.
I think both teams are pretty happy to scale up to their first completed items as well. You know, once the Yasuo gets that Phantom Dancer, does do a lot more work in terms of his laning and his team fighting. The Aurelia with the Trinity Force goes without saying, that just does a lot for you as an Aurelia. Look at the Kindred completing an item, it helps with your clear speed and your healthiness through that clear as well.
Haro
So it actually sets you up.
Yeah, he's soloing the Rift Herald as it spawns. Whoop. A Scout gets tagged by a quick Blades Reach, Shockwave onto the Minion Wave, and a Shadow Dash. That's a lot of burst coming out onto Fury. Yoon's forced to use the Phantom Undertow defensively, as Rift Herald is picked up by EDG at the same time.
Yeah, the Ignite used by Mako is the only thing really expended alongside that Shockwave, and Haro, for no cost at all, is able to just walk over and snag that objective, and that's not the first time we've seen it. Through that first game, he went from Infernal to Herald, completely uncontested by their opponents, and in this one, which is much more equal footing of a game comparatively to that last one, objectives are still free to be theirs, and really makes you wonder as Yoon
steps up and the command attack dissonance. Phantom Undertow, iBoy walks it off. His Hacker is there. He's pulled back in. iBoy forced to flash away, but that Summoner spell's traded for vision and information. Now they know the Graves is here.
Hacker finds himself in the correct lane with the opportunity to gank this time around. It was good timing. They get the flash away from iBoy, so he is now the target. Now remember that Mako does have the ult. So for the side of EDG, the counter punch is always going to be viable. Not just the Raptors, which are marked again, I might add.
That's what we see. Hacker is the target. That's a knockup. Last breath. Look at the burst, and Haro gets the kill. He's up to 4 stacks now. Stand United as Mako comes in, and even getting iBoy and Ray in on the action. Angel will get chased down 4 kills to 0 for EDG.
And it feels so easy from EDG. Herald now gets summoned as well. They find the pick in the enemy jungle. Ray teleports, Shen ultimate comes in, and Yasuo just needs to find the knockup that he sets up from Raptors. Everything cascades so poorly for Sinning, but so right from EDG, playing out of their minds.
The chips just fall into place for this team as the mid-tier 1 is now broken down. You can see iBoy even taking the safe route to defend his bottom tier 1 while Scout covers top. And another charge from Shelly the Herald, as she will finally go down. Ooh, Yoon didn't actually get the kill gold on that either. It's only 25, but hey, you look for what you can.
Take the small victories at this stage. Of course, it's now actually opened up to about 3,000, the difference at 12 minutes. We're not going to compare everything to game 1 anymore, because that was just a ridiculous stomping. The second game still going so cleanly in the favor of EDG, considering that, you know, the Graves in the jungle should be a strong early game clear champion. Mundo, it does take a bit of time to scale, but he can keep the Ornn at bay, and top lane should be even. Then the Swain just wants to scale up to level 9, really. That's when he starts to become very strong. None of those things that happened for free. The cost has been so high. And I feel like a lot of this is Sunning's individual decisions. You know, Yoon leaving lanes so much has just opened the floor to iBoy and Mako to do as they please. And when EDG pick their battles, they win those fights. You just can't give them time to pick the battles. And I think that frantic nature is what Suning have embraced a little bit too fully here.
And that's sort of where you differentiate between EDG, a team that excels in setting up and preparing for plays. Oh, we see the support top lane, great. Our 2v1 bottom will push and take an advantage. We can set the tempo and dictate control of the game because that's always been EDG's MO.
And that's 5 marks for Haro on that Kindred already.
Real big.
13 minutes in the game. He's got the increased range. He's continuing to stack up and get that extra damage. It's absurdly powerful. There's Haro right now on that Kindred. Even rushing the Black Cleaver next, it looks like. And showing that he's tanky.
That he both protect and attack on this Kindred. That Lamb's Respite to try and keep people topped off. But still, with Mako going for a quick recall, that means iBoy is left all by his lonesome with that Luden's Echo. Does not have teleport this game as he is on that Orianna. Only teleport for EDG is Ray. That is about half cooldown. You can see teleport for Angel, Fury, and Xiao Ao all set up and ready. And Cloud Dragon is spawning. It's a pittance compared to what EDG has taken, but if they can force a fight and try to take an objective...
Yeah. I mean, that's the solace you take here. Cloud Dragon's possible. You want the kills before it. However, in Uni's looking.
Phantom Undertow and the Never Move. iBoy goes gold.
Haro in.
Ascension. Mako is ready. Like you said, Haro is there. Shockwave on iBoy and the Last Breath combo onto Hacker. iBoy still goes low, but the Respite keeps him safe. Fury is ready with the Demon's Hand and flashes out before he gets it off. Haro gets an auto attack for another kill as Bone Skewer misses.
Haro's having a field day right now. 3-0-2 on the Kindred, threatening the bottom lane as well. They could go to the Drake, but why? It's just a Cloud Drake. They're going to push top lane. Ray in trouble.
Yeah, he's pushing up against Xiao Ao to try and prevent that teleport. Forced to back away as the bottom tier 1 is taken, and EDG now push into the jungle of Suning.
Now, whilst Ray's in trouble, he survives. Another mark now for Haro. Finds it at the enemy Krugs. The stars have aligned for the jungler of EDG. That's a teleport for top lane.
It might actually be multiple teleports now. Fury coming in. Ray gets the 2-man knockout. Xiao Ao is tanking. Stand United. Xiao Ao takes another hit. Mako actually, I believe, got canceled out of it somehow. Might have been on the blast cone as he got knocked into the dragon pit.
Might have been. It might have been the dragon being aggro.
Might also have been the dragon.
The judges on that one. Either way, he doesn't go top lane. He doesn't need to.
Yeah. Ray
save
holds
their
on.
top laner. The shield was all that was really needed. And the turret does go down. So this is the first real good thing you look at for Suning Gaming in this game. And it was a good trade. Now Scout, he's got a minion wave.
Ooh, flashes into the briefcase, but he's still starting to get some dashes. That's one. Dodges yet another. And just shows, hey, I might have flashed a bit too soon on the first, but I can still outplay you.
That's one of the rules of League of Legends. Just like you can't engage the Dothraki on an open field, you cannot engage the Yasuo in a minion wave. He will beat you down.
Yeah.
He's got too much mobility. So they get another kill. Scouts up there. Of course, that was just a greedy recall from Xiao Ao. No need to go exactly where you were next to a turret. Just move back towards your own point of safety. Back in the bottom lane, however, iBoy is the one who gets engaged on and ripped towards the team, but an early stopwatch buys all the time in the world. And then the Shockwave gives the entryway to Scout. That's it. Lights out for the side of Suning Gaming. They don't get the kills, so they are completely done. And Angel, he comes in. He realizes that may be the worst decision that he's made of all time if he commits to a fight. So
yeah,
just backs it up.
Real tragedy. And now with Angel at 169 CS, he's keeping pace with Scout, but having a difficulty in keeping pace with that global gold because of those kills and the objectives EDG are getting. They just pick up, rotate to the top tier 1. Angel's forced to back away, and it is about to become 3 turrets to 1. Now, lots of pings towards the mid lane, but Ray, he's sitting back so safe.
It's an Ornn that's level 11 with flash up, so try as you might. You're not going to kill him, and you're not going to kill the turret. EDG have set up their lane assignments very well to ensure that nothing is traded against them. The one thing they're looking at is Xiao Ao in the bottom lane. If he can get himself damage onto the turret, that'll be fantastic. He's bought a lot of time, however. More if he would like, but he's very respectful.
Yeah, double Cloud Dragon for EDG. Anyone with Mobies can race down there real quick, and you can already see EDG hugging that bottom half of the map as they've already taken pretty much everything else away from Suning.
Now we get to watch the Haro game, Dom. Does he just go straight to the Krugs instead of the red buff? It's got a mark on it.
I think he does. He dropped the Scryer's Bloom. Ooh, doesn't have Smite. And now he turns it over. Hacker going for the side step.
Go to the Krugs.
Misses.
Yeah. Everyone calm down. There's a mark on it.
He's set to finish it off. Look, I know marks are important, but
I played AFL growing up, Dom. Marks are the most important thing besides goals.
All right. Bone Skewer, that means nothing to me as an American.
Yeah, you're not meant to get that, but I just wanted to throw it out.
Yeah, thank you. EDG hopping away as they're now picking up and rotating towards that mid lane. So they just blow an ultimate, get some vision over here, force Suning to react, pick up all of their vision and drop it down there, because look what's spawning in 90 seconds. Baron is about to be on the top half, and there are a lot of wards set to expire for Suning in that time.
Now, in terms of timing in the vision game, it's a subtle game that you'll never really get a chance to fully grasp from each respective team. But with 90 seconds until a major objective, if you're on the enemy red side jungle, if you're EDG in this case, they're going to clear all of your vision, but that also means they're going to be using their sweepers and all of their vision control to clear that away. Which means that you get to go back to base, purchase all of your extra control wards, and use your vision control where that major objective will be. So it's a nice little thing there from EDG, intentional or not. It is the correct step as they're trying to dive Ray.
Yeah, he doesn't have the ultimate. Flashes out of the stun and the stand united as Haro joins in, and oh man, Suning, they are running for the hills. Yoon goes golden, Angel flashes but dies as Mako gets in there and finds himself a kill. Xiao Al being burned down by Haro. Meanwhile, Hacker has joined the fray. Xiao Al still buying some time. Yoon looks for the Phantom Undertow, but Haro is a monster, sidestepping again and again. The death from below misses. Yoon looks for the kill, but will die himself. And Haro survives, healing off of the cannon minions. Mako is able to pass it over as Ray is gifted a double kill. Rusty 11-0. Boy, what are you doing, bud?
Just changed the record. Stick to 80 carries Boy, but the rest of EDG are popping off. Haro could not be stopped on this Kindred. Ray even standing in the way to block the Graves ultimate, ensuring there's no kills to be traded on the opposite side. But the most amusing thing about that is that Boy tried the rookie. That is what it is called.
Yes.
If you sombrero
The
yourself and
flash.
onto them, Rookie has one of the most key highlights of his career, actually making a play like that. Of course, Ray, great flash to Dozier. Aurelia stun. Shen is on his way. And it's super sad that, of course, the pillar went down the last second, didn't get the knockup. But Angel's dead. Yoon's going to try and get the death from below onto Haro on the backside of this as well. That's the first thing to look towards, because Haro just casually sidesteps it. Doesn't have the mana for the ultimate, I don't think, here. It's a nice little hop now. Oof. Casually dodged.
Effortless. Mako even landing the Shadow Dash onto Hacker to
and look at Ray
any
blocking
more damage.
this as well. There's no chance for Graves to ult. He's just standing in front auto-attacking. So good.
Wow. Where is this team fighting EDG been? How? That only comes from a lot of practice. A lot of practice. EDG are now chasing Fury down. They've pinned him to the wall, and they've taken his lunch money.
Boy just wanted to make up for the last one. So he hits that shockwave, and whilst it may not have been necessary, he hit the shockwave.
Oh, yeah.
So
now he's turning onto the tier 2 EDG. They are 4 turrets to 1. It's not a perfect game because they did give up that top tier 1 a little while earlier. And Haro, another stack on this Kindred. 4-0 and 6. EDG running for the deathless game against Suning. And Xiao Al is stepping up. It's only a simple minion wave, but there's not enough wave clear. Look at how quickly they burst down this turret.
I mean, they're poised to take the 0-kill game. Mako, the one to look at.
And he gets pulled back in by the Phantom Undertow. Good two-man knockup. Angel, is he thinking about it? He's got himself that Ionian Fervor.
Now gets owned away. Dragon currently being taken by Haro at the same time. So that's going to be a Mountain Dragon, most likely in the hands of EDG. Of course, he just needs to hit the smite. Let no cleavers take that objective, and he will.
8 stacks now on this Kindred. Suning group up as 5 to try and defend. Ooh. The Vanguard's edge goes wide, and EDG happily defend that turret with a quick attack distance. So just like that, all of the tempo that Suning had fizzles out, and this is just mean, guys.
There's good flash predicto from Mako.
Yeah.
It was massive coming out of the Shen. And
is that a predict, or is that a...
I mean, you've got 2 options, right?
Yeah.
When you're Shen and you're in range to hit the taunt, you're going to hit it, but if he flashes, then you just flash to follow. So it's one of those catch-all situations, like a Gragas could work with a body slam perhaps, but at the end of the day, it is still a predict, and it's still very nice from Mako on that Shen.
12 kills to 0 now off the back of that. He's 1-0 and 9. Only person with a higher KDA this game is Haro at a 10.0 KDA on this Kindred. Now you can see the mark that has been given over to Haro. He's at 8 stacks. The next mark, his next target, is Baron Buff. So not going to be quite stacking up as quickly as he was earlier, unless EDG just decide to invest that much more resources into them. But EDG, they're just taking control of the game. And there's not too much that Suning can do to try and answer.
Yeah, not at all, honestly. I mean, at this point in the game, it's similar to the last one. It's just happening a little bit later into the game. So we're getting some better item spikes from Suning Gaming. That's the one thing that they could maybe take away from this. The last team fights that they tried to go for when they were engaging in game 1 were just never going to really pan out successfully. The problem is, whilst they could maybe look at that in this second game, their composition isn't exactly designed for hard engaging. It's not going to be a wombo. That's actually their opponents, having the Orianna, the Yasuo, and the Ornn. And this is where things get very dire, Dom, is if you try and run at that composition, they hit the shockwave. If you're running away from the composition, it's harder to hit the shockwave. If you're engaging on iBoy, crowd controlling him to prevent him, you're also going to have a better time, but there's no crowd control. You've got the Aurelia that can stun you down. You've got the Never Move and the Bone Skewer. That's the three things, and it's fairly pick in its orientation. That's not a team fight.
Well, EDG, as long as they keep themselves safe from a pick, I think they should be okay in this, as the third Cloud Dragon is set to spawn relatively shortly. Already you can see EDG running out this Deathless game, playing nice and safe. Loser has to buy the team dinner in this matchup. As Angel steps up, Scout walks forward with the wind wall as that Blades
they're on though.
Go forward. That's the Stand United. Here comes the knockup. Ray, who's the target? Looks like it's Xiao Al in the front. Last breath still held onto by Scout. Shockwave onto 2. The damage goes in. Vanguard's edge as Angel is in the back, but a quick Lamb's respite forces him to back away. Fury tries to get in on it, but dies. And now Xiao Al is forced to turn around and run Bone Skewer from long range, and it's an easy cleanup for EDG as they find 3 kills.
All of these knockups, all of this crowd control from EDG, and Scout still doesn't need to use the ultimate to win a successful fight here. They don't need the wombo, they're just too far ahead. Now cresting over 10,000 in the Baron spawns. Very easily they could walk over to this one, and you can see that Suning Gaming, they know it's gone. They've sent their Aurelia bottom lane, and this game has gone from bad to worse very quickly.
Mako taking away that Baron there, as EDG, they just chase it up and find themselves the kills with the engage.
Certainly do. Of course, Scout's the one to look at. Does he get the ultimate off and not in white? Because he was actually locked down by the Never Move and then stopwatched at the same time as the shockwave hitting. So it's a little bit tragic for EDG. It could have looked cooler. But you don't really need anything to look cooler when you're winning the game regardless.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for looks at this point, you've already got something pretty good on your hands.
They could have waved the white flag on iBoy as well. That's the only other thing that would have made it better.
15-0 right now for EDG. Edward Gaming proving us wrong with results and showing that game 1 wasn't just a fluke. It's about the series. Now they need to close out the rest of this to keep this momentum as they turn now onto this Tier 2 turret for EDG.
And you know, you could really take away whatever you want from this set in favor of EDG. There's so many positives to take from this. Their level 1 strategy being very different to the norm, but also being wildly successful. You could actually look at their team fighting and say it has been fairly solid, but I personally would just be looking at the individual Aparo and saying he is playing out of his mind.
Oh yeah, he is going crazy right now. A 3-man stun. Angel decides not to go in. He remembers what happened last time, finally goes for it. That doesn't have the Vanguard's edge just yet, but he's already chunked really low. Managed to getting Azanias to stall that out with his stopwatch.
One dies.
He managed to find a kill. Shockwave misses. Scout goes in, but he's looking for 1. Trades it back for 2 as he's chasing around the back. Fury has found iBoy and does enough damage to bring him low. Haro is still firing across, and Scout finally finds Yoon, but doesn't have enough to finish him. Mako and Scout still doing some work against Hacker. The melee range wind wall as Scout runs him back to the fountain to finally chase down the kill, but Yoon is back up along with Xiao Al. It's 2 versus 2.
And this should be game because of the Baron buff, but I think Xiao L's got enough presence to probably deter this one from ending just yet. Of course, Mako and Scout, between the two of them, they could kill the Mundo and the Pike, but not under a turret, not in a place that isn't safe. They'll back away. 3 kills to be secured by Suning Gaming this time. It's not going to be the 0-kill defeat here for them.
Yeah.
They will go down swinging as Suning Gaming is wont to do.
But I think that's a trade that if you're EDG, you're happy to make. We can go for the Deathless game. We can play it slow and siege for 30 minutes. Maybe even make it 45 and give Suning a chance of a comeback. Or we could take the very high-risk, high-reward play, or I suppose low-risk, high-reward play.
I mean, they made the conscious decision to be hyper-aggressive in their push. You know, there's a minute left on the Baron, so they could have just played it slowly, pushed maybe more than one lane, pressured different places on the map, teleported in if they would like, but they just grouped up as 5. They said, we've got the team fighting composition. We're just going to throw ourselves at you in team fight. And yes, 3 of them died, but Inhib falls. Baron's still available for one more wave. The chance is still there, and the gold lead is more than indicative of what's currently going on in this game and how aggressive EDG could be with that.
More than 500 gold per minute than their opponents, as Haro is at 9 stacks. He wasn't allowed to finish off that Baron. Of course, Mako had to get the last hit.
We've got 3 NA Drakes here as well.
Triple Cloud, yeah. As EDG now pushing forward. 8 seconds left on the Baron buff. That last fight was real risky for them, as Angel and Fury were able to get some big damage. Not a lot of soul stacks on Fury, so he's not going to do quite as much, but the inhibitor is broken down regardless of the Baron wearing off.
Yeah, I mean, the Baron was there to empower their push for those last couple of seconds. That's really all they needed. The entry was there. The Ornn threat is always going to be far too high. Not quite level 16 yet is iBoy or Ray, however, so their ultimates aren't going to be fully stacked in the damage they're dealing.
On the upside, no Soul Stealer yet from iBoy, as he is building towards a Rabadon's Death Cap 3rd, though he is still sitting on that Dark Seal, as he did lose a couple of stacks.
And the Death Cap and the Medjais are similar in cost, so we'll see what happens if he gets a chance to recall. I think the game will end before that.
Knock up. Landing onto Hacker, he steps up. Ray is forced to back away as Haro is doing so much work to this turret. As Xiao Al drops himself a Randuin's, and Angel looks to go in. Vanguard's edge, but immediately Haro just pops the respite. Scout heals up along with the rest of EDG. So 2 to Xiao Al as he's able to heal it up and walk it back.
Yeah, now EDG didn't need to do any of that. They're still waiting for super minions to crash in from both bottom, which is about to happen, and from mid lane, which was slowly going to join them. But they feel confident enough. They look healthy enough to continue this siege, and they got a lot of damage onto that turret already.
They really do. They're starting to break it down. That clockwork windup allows iBoy to get the final hit along with Haro. Flash from the back. Angel looks for the stun, but iBoy and the rest of EDG just bait it out.
They're Suning trying to brute force the fight. They need to. There's one Nexus turret standing. If super minions touch it at all, it's over. Scout
goes in. That's the last breath. Shockwave onto 2 as Scout finds even more follow-up, just dancing through Suning's ranks as he finds himself 2 kills. Haro gets another. Oh no, Mako goes golden. He's got no flash. Ray even steps up as the Fountain even decides to gift the polite kill over iBoy. Good guy, iBoy. We'll say, all right, you didn't get to kill Mako, but I'll give you this one. Walks onto the Fountain and passes it over as EDG take a 2-0 against Suning.
And if you told me that the Fountain was working for EDG, I would have believed you. Didn't touch Mako at all for that solid amount of time. And iBoy raises his Teemos in victory here for the side of EDG. And they looked very clean. Now 7-2 in the standings, pushing their way up towards the top. You can't really fault them for this game. Yes, it was not the cleanest finish, but they didn't need to be clean. They just needed to run themselves at sitting over and over. Their composition was already scaled up. That's exactly what they did, and that was what was needed.
Yeah, clean and easy. Prove them wrong with results for EDG, and they give us a showing here in this game against Suning that I think EDG fans will be happy to take home.
That was an absolute treat to watch here from EDG, and I hope to see performances like this continuing through the rest of the split. iBoy also showing that he's not just an AD carry player anymore. An Orianna and a Morgana in the same set. Two different mage champions in the bottom lane.
Yeah, at the very least, he is learning mages, as we have discovered in this game, in which he sombreroed on himself. The rookie flash, it's called.
He hit some shockwaves afterwards. The team fighting was still there from him.
Absolutely.
His Morgana also looked clean, whilst the black shielding was, you know, just there on himself.
Yeah. But still, Suning, they tried to bring it back against EDG. We saw Angel getting a few good Vanguard's edge, but already we can see the immediate reaction from Haro, who absolutely stepped up on this Kindred in Game 2, even the Talia in Game 1 with constant mobility around the map for EDG.
And this has been such a curious set overall. It was a 2-0 to EDG, and Suning Gaming aren't exactly a walkover or a pushover of a team. You know, they were middle of the pack very solidly. They started the split with 3 solid victories and almost looked like they were going to be fighting with JD for top of the table. So they've got the capabilities there. They've got the potential there. Just never really got to see any of it with how well EDG played around them. There was no real moment where Suning could do anything.
And without that opportunity, Suning simply floundered against a team that proved themselves superior. And like you said, TOP, they're now tied with OMG and FPX at 3 and 6 for that 4th place spot in the West Conference.
Yeah,
so
playoffs in the West are going to be a very spicy meatball for the 4th place position. That
Yeah.
much is for certain.
they're still looking for some more wins a little bit further down the line, but they have got a long road to climb. That being said, though, this is one of those days that you just have to chalk up to, all right, we lost at level 1, and then EDG, they played some real good League of Legends.
I think there are more things to take from Game 2,
Yeah.
to be fair, but I do want to just spend most of the time here saying that EDG, how bloody good did they look there, honestly. That was a very good showing from them, an absolute cracker of a set.
Yeah, absolutely what we wanted to see from the team. Now it's time for our analyst to break down that EDG victory.
Thanks, guys. But before we break down the victory from EDG, just wanted to let everyone back at home know that in a bit, Ray will have an interview over with Dom. So stick around so we can hear from Ray after that match. And speaking of Ray, he was able to take it to Xiao Ao, showed him who's the boss, shows that EDG didn't need to pick him up all along. He's the perfect top laner for them, so to speak.
And we finally got to see another flash in the pan from Edward Gaming where they're showcasing their true form. They made it look way too easy against Suning. I believe Rusty used trounce, shellacking. I give Dom a good, what, he said licking? Okay, Dom, that's fine. But ultimately, they just got smashed. And it's so refreshing after we see Royal never give up, struggle and fail, how we see Invictus Gaming struggle but ultimately win. Ray got a little bit lost right there. He walks through the shot, he's like, yeah. Cameo by Ray's shoulder right there. And then Edward Gaming have just a smashing performance through Suning.
Yeah, but how many times can we say that this is a flash in the pan?
I
for
love that
EDG?
guy.
How many times can we say that this is a flash in the pan? How many more times did EDG actually pull off this performance before it's consistent?
They need to win again. Fish, I almost called you Dom. Sorry, was looking at Dom. The issue is that Edward Gaming, they fell off of their throne, and it now truly is the era of RNG. And when we saw those two teams clash, RNG just threw down the gauntlet and took it away from Edward Gaming. And again, it's about expectations. You know, EDG are the premier organization of the LPL. They have been the most dominant team we've ever created, except now RNG are very quickly running up that legacy. So for us to say it's a flash in the pan, that it's still not too soon, that they're a someday, not a right now, that is why. They need to win again.
I mean, look, it's difficult to kind of take EDG and compare it to RNG at the moment because Uzi's not playing on the roster. We can't judge RNG's full strength. But EDG recently, I mean, you've got Haro fitting in with the team well, something that wasn't very present during Spring Split. Scouts having great performances, and they've been back-to-back and consistent. So it might not just be flash the pans for him, and everywhere else in the map shaping up together. So this could be what they need to do moving in towards finals to try and take the crown. Is there any next step that EDG have to improve on or have to change going into that?
It's just the consistency, especially as we're starting to see them diversify their style, not only with paying attention more so towards the lanes that they're ganking, giving mid lane and top lane both more priority, but also an iBoys champion pool, that they're no longer just a marksman team, having the Morgana, having the Orianna. So I already like the evolutions and the synergy that we're seeing build from Edward Gaming. The question is it enough to beat RNG once Uzi returns in top form?
Well, we know that EDG have always been one of those team fighting based teams, and finally we got to see them showcase their team fighting prowess in this match against Suning. There are a couple of big fights for it, where Suning tried to start the fight. Ray, such a rock in the top lane in this match for EDG. Starts it all off, but EDG show what they can do and what they used to be incredibly well known for.
And what I really love is that we're going to have an opportunity to talk to Ray right quick. He's still setting up the interview with Dom, so it will be in English, but just having a great performance. Flashing the Aurelia stun, setting them up for his team, and it looked like at this point in the game that Edward Gaming were actually going to have close to a perfect game. You know, losing a tower, but that no one was going to dive, and just expertly dodge from multiple members. Started with Ray, Haro then joins in, has some sick kindred mechanics, and it was just a joy to watch.
But of course, you know, a couple of members get a bit hypey, decide to die.
iBoy.
Almost die to fountains as well.
iBoy.
Yes, the robot. iBoy. Fish eyes everywhere. Didn't look too good there, but they won the match, and it was much cleaner coming out from EDG from what we've seen so far. So hats off to them. For the side of Suning, I actually wanted to see a bit more from them.
Yeah, Suning are supposed to be right there with JD Gaming, but JD Gaming are just in a class of their own right now. And I don't want to just say that, like, Edward Gaming are that it's clean from them, it's confident from them. That's like the big takeaway for me. It's how confident Haro looks, because again, you cover up that nameplate. That looks like Clearlove in form. Like, who needs Clearlove to come back onto the roster? I mean, obviously we see him all the time in the practice rooms, working backstage with the team. He was at Rift Rivals with them, and you can start to see some of this rubbing off on Haro, and he's really just turned from Haro to hero for me.
And if Haro is the man that has that wide champion pool, has the mechanics to execute in the jungle for EDG, and you have Clearlove sitting behind him, mentoring him, guiding him, teaching him how to play with the sim and how to play in the jungle, that's a setup for success for EDG. And on his birthday, Haro picks up MVP in game number 2. Rightfully so, had fantastic performance in both game 1 and 2, and it was phenomenal to watch him play Kindred.
Yeah, you can hear him behind us on the stage giving his interview to the Chinese audience and all of the oh. So Haro getting his birthday wishes there and got his birthday game, 6-1 and 11.
Performing incredibly well. Kindred's also a champion that's recently come back into meta, so that was one of the questions we always threw towards Clearlove. He can't really adapt to the meta as it changes so drastically. It seems like Haro, after the shenanigans of Spring Split, has been doing incredibly well during Summer, and all the faults that we had for him are starting to be shortened up or starting to be improved upon, and starting to look like a world-class jungle in his own right.
Yeah, but he still needs to prove himself on the international stage. So while he is working better alongside Scout, who's in form, giving more attention to Ray, and also Mako is returning to form, it's still now kind of the last hurdle for Haro. Can he do what Clearlove has never been able to do, or I guess was only able to do once, bar that 2015 MSI victory, and perform on an international stage?
So you feel like the curse could transfer over Clear. All the good things that he's teaching Haro, the curse also has to be taught to Haro, is that right?
No curse. No quarterfinals curse.
No quarterfinals curse for EDG. But we said we would talk to Ray, and he's not going to be walking in front of our cameras anymore because he's with Dom at the other camera. Let's go over to that interview.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm Dom, and joining me here is Ray. Congratulations on the win over Suning Gaming. I gotta say, previously you were the top laner for Cloud9 in North America. Do you still watch NA games at all?
Yeah, I still watch the NA game for some time because when you're
the time zones are really tough.
Time zones so late, so just sometimes I watch and I always check the match history. So I still watch the NA
you get to see this, and you still watch Cloud9? Yeah.
Still watch. I still watch the Cloud9 match. I think they're right now pretty safe.
Yeah. Feels bad.
Yeah, feels bad.
So then, what do you think is the difference between North America like play and LPL style play? Because you're coming from two regions.
Yeah. I think LPL League is like team fighting and solo lane fight. It's different. This is different things. NALC is like leader fight, sort of. Look for lane fight. I think it's different.
Like late game scaling, that sort of thing for NA. So which style do you like better, the LPL style or the NA style?
I like LPL style because I really like team fight and liner fight. So that's why I like LPL.
Yeah, I mean it absolutely showed in your game against Suning.
Yeah. Right. That's why I like LPL.
Nice.
I like NALCS too.
Okay, well that sounds very good then. So with EDG, you play a lot more tank top laners, whereas in North America you played carries. Why is that?
Because when I was Cloud9, Cloud9 have two top, Impact and me. Impact was so good player. Right now, so great too.
Yeah.
He really like play tank, and I like carry top, and that's why I play carry top.
Back in NA. Well, what about here with EDG? Now you're playing many more tanks. Is that just because you don't have another top laner?
I think in EDG I only top laner, right? So I need the rain. How to say
like range the flexibility. Okay. So which do you prefer to play then? Carry tops or tank tops?
I favorably play carry top.
Okay. Yeah. Well, very cool. Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much. Have you got anything to say to the fans at home who are tuning in?
Yeah. Hello guys. I'm playing in EDG right now. Before I play Cloud9. So right now.
Yeah. Ray Jayo. Ray Jayo. Ray fighting.
Ray Jayo.
Yeah.
So I won't say, but yeah. Thank you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Now it's time for our analyst to close us out for the day, Ray. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
I agree with Dom and Ray Tayo. I mean, he just came off of a win for Sunny. English is nowhere close to his first language, does an interview, and I mean, great to hear. I mean, he likes to play carries a little bit more. Unfortunately, EDG have sat him on the EDG tank top laners, so we're not going to see too many of them, unfortunately.
Oh, he pulled out the cannon. I'm all aboard the Ray train. I was excited to see him kind of throw down the gauntlet and take it to Xiao and prove I am deserving of being in the top lane. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ray was actually with Edward Gaming before he went to Cloud9.
Yes.
He used to be on their academy squad, and he's very familiar with the organization. So it's nice for me to see Ray come home. Obviously a Korean player returning to the LPL scene, but really starting his career here again.
It's great to see that he got some experience from the wildcard region and came over to here where the big boys like to play League of Legends. And he's been playing fantastically ever since he rejoined the EDG roster. I mean, up against Sinning today, put on a clinic, was able to take it to Xiao Ao as well. It was beautiful to watch, and congratulations to EDG for picking up the 2-0 victory. With that said, we can take a look at how the LPL stands at the moment, because EDG pick up another win for themselves and now 7-2. IG also tied up on the top of the table, 8-1, tied up with Jingdong.
Yeah, and that's the big surprise Cinderella story. It's JD Gaming sitting at the very top, 8-1. They are crashing through the ladder, and they are making a very strong case that they are a top 3 team.
And we talked about the 4 teams to watch being EDG, Rogue Warriors, Invictus Gaming, and RNG. You have to watch JDG during this cross-conference because they had the exact same score as all the top 4, and now they're proving they can take down Giants, and they're going to try and continue that cross-conference run.
It's going to be a very tense playoff gauntlet.
It definitely is. And with the standings aside, we can also take a look at tomorrow's matches, because unlike today, it's a regular weekend here in the LPL. We've got 3 matches to play. Vici will play against Snake in the first match, followed by LGD against WE, and RNG will take on Rogue Warriors for the final match of Sunday.
Feels like we're going all across China. We're going to go to Chongqing, we're going to go to Hangzhou or Xi'an, and then we're going to settle down in Beijing.
Finally, for the match of the week as well, RNG against Rogue Warriors. That was the team who RNG said, please win this match so we can take it home during Rift Rivals. And now, from once friends, have to play against each other just a couple of weeks after Rift Rival finished.
Yeah, these teams are very familiar with each other. However, they were previously in the Eastern Conference, which means that Rogue Warriors do have good tape against RNG. They would have to face them when they were both over in the Eastern Conference. So, unfortunately, we only get this clash once for cross-conference. It's why it's so special. But Rogue Warriors will definitely have a grudge to settle.
They definitely will, and we only, as Froskin said, only get that match once unless these 2 teams will meet during playoffs of the LPL. But that's the end of our broadcast tonight. All I have left to do is to thank Frosker and all our casters for today, Ray for coming in for the interview, as well as the entire production team, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more LPL action.